Hi, I'm Reese, and I'm the head of art here at FitXR. I essentially run the art team, so I lead the guys in sort of creating beautiful environments and rewards for the game.
Hi, I'm Alicia, and I'm the brand design director here at FitXR. So for season 6, I helped to create the theme Space Odyssey. I also helped collaborate with the art team on the visual production of the assets, and then did all of the marketing assets and promotional materials for this season, helping to create and fabricate the pin that we know our members love.
One thing we developed right early on in the season's life cycle is the season Bible. A season Bible is really useful for making sure alignment is found across the entire team and visual alignment is found across the entire team. We work very closely with Alicia to ensure that the theme of the season is like really consistent and really strong. Any artwork that gets created is compared back to the Bible to make sure that it fits.
Hi, my name is Carlo and I'm the concept artist here at FitXR. I'm a gamer. So when I was a kid, I used to think about the developers and how they come up with things. And now I'm on the other side and it's really, really cool. My job is to come up with hopefully cool designs for everything in the season, starting with environments, moving to rewards and whatever visual is in the season. Each season, I start with research. And this season was about space, which is one of my favorite things. So I got to get a lot of books from NASA and the Hubble telescope. They were super useful, traditional illustration. And I got a lot of galaxies and photos, tried to put them all in my paintings. I hand paint our skyboxes and paint what we call a 360 concept. So basically it's a 360-degree painting that I do for each environment. People can look around. It's not exactly as the final product, but it's close enough. Making stuff by hand conveys the love that we put in each environment and everything we do at FitXR.
So one of the visual pillars that we work to here at FitXR is something called magical realism. We wanted to ground our app within a realistic art style that take users to magical places.
In Mare, everything is inspired by water, of course. So the atmosphere is kind of dense and humid, and all the shapes are inspired by water. So the clouds are like foam, and the colors are inspired by what you see in the ocean. We pushed colors, lighting a little bit farther than reality, captured the magic of the night sky instead of the feeling of being alone and scared in space.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm the senior environment artist here at FitXR. For the most part, I take Carlo's concept, replace any of the placeholder assets with more quality assets. For season 6, that's like replacing all the placeholder rocks with really high detailed quality rocks inside the modeling software. In terms of the Ignis floor, we created that in Substance Painter, which is very specifically like a texturing software. Similar to Photoshop in how it's very much layer based. We'll bring in various materials. I know I want it to be rocky, sandy, and Mars-like. I try and start to create this floor. And it's basically just layering it until you get the final look that you want.
Hi, I'm Lewis. I'm a 3D artist here at FitXR. My job is to make props, things like that, just get the environments looking as good as possible. So it's kind of getting to really focus in on one object and really nailing the details of that thing. And in this case, it was the spaceship. The idea was that it'd take us from planet to planet, as we go on this adventure. A lot of the inspiration for this one was NASA research, watching a lot of documentaries and looking at spaceships that actually exist in the real world and trying to balance that with the sort of realistic fantasy that we've got going on with our environment. Some of the 3D models were actually pulled from NASA's own website. We didn't use the final models, but we'd use that as a starting point to create something new. We'd start to pull things from like Star Wars and 2001: A Space Odyssey and try and combine them with the NASA inspiration as close as we can get to the real science, trying to be accurate but trying to be artistic and making things look really nice. And that's kind of how we landed on the final design that we ended up with. The ship was loosely inspired by the targets. We wanted to give some character through the textures, making it look worn and weathered and used, as if it had already been a lot of journeys.
Hi, I'm Isaac and I'm senior technical artist at FitXR. What a technical artist does is the bridge between the artist and the engineering team, so we are right in the middle. We are artists, but we also do coding. we wanted to show those big planets in the sky. And at first they were painted, they were part of the skybox, and basically the skybox is like a really big canvas. They were blending super well with the colors and they were looking awesome, thanks by Carlo. But they looked too flat because of that canvas. So they were fine in 2D, but they were looking weird on 3D. So we created something different, and we have those fake meshes with the planets. That way we have total freedom to make them blend with the skybox, to animate the planet rotation, to create some different effects like the light is moving, building the technology and making sure it's going to look nice for the players. That's super fun for me.
Recently, we've been really trying to push our graphics fidelity and get things looking a lot higher standard. So on this one, we really tried to push it by having some detailed reflections baked into the windscreen and really having those, environmental reflections pop out, and then adding additional things like the lights that you'd find on a plane's wings and the engine lights glowing hot as if they were real engines.
I would also bring in some accent lights for Mare, for example. It was in complete darkness. The main light was coming from behind the spaceship. So we had to do a little bit of fake lighting in order to actually make the spaceship look a little bit more interesting. So that meant bringing in like these different sort of area type lights. So you're just really painting the picture that you want it to be.
Usually we do gloves like in a physical way, so they are sporty, they are more fashion, but they are always like physical materials, leather, fabric, stuff like that. And we wanted something more magical for this season, so we build the gloves in a way that you can see in this part of your hand the portal through other space.
So for badges, our amazing brand director Alicia had this awesome idea of having some sort of space passport going on, and Isaac came up with the beautiful reference of these layered stamps that are super common in Japan. So we took that and I developed some shape language: triangle for Igni, circle for Mare, and an hexagon for Vesper, which is actually a cool thing because there is an hexagon on the top of Saturn. So it's a geometric shape that we actually find in nature. And each badge has got some symbology in it. For example, in Mare, you can see the waves that obviously represent water. And in the second tier, you can see Vesper and Igni in the sky, the stars, the rings that you can see in the skybox, and this little shell shape that represents obviously the sea, and this little abstraction for the spaceship.
So each season takes roughly about 3 months to make, and this equals out to almost 3,000 hours across 5 team members, which is no small feat.
We put a lot of effort and love in what we do, and it's amazing to see that people will react positively to that.
So when you see all those messages in the Facebook groups, in WhatsApp, it's really cool. It's super satisfying to see that people is loving what you are doing.
All of the feedback that we're getting, how the scenery is amazing, and just how it's really motivated members to want to get into headset, go to these exotic places that they wouldn't otherwise get to see.
It was really great seeing like a positive reaction to this season and all the effort that we put into it. It was sort of like the work really paid off.
Every time we create something that is beautiful, we know that it's making big impacts on people's lives and people's health.
You're not just making games that people enjoy, you're actually creating something that people are just in general becoming healthy or feeling better about themselves. I think that part is really quite inspiring.